National Geographic reports that every year millions of puppies are mass produced in puppy mills and are sold to consumers through pet stores and pet brokers. Puppy mills are an inhumane way for pet breeders to make quick cash at the expense and lives of these poor animals. However, these dog breeding facilities are legal, and existing laws don't do much to prosecute these people that do this. I will be focusing on the dog breeders that loosely follow regulations and try to get away with these illegal aspects of breeding. I'm a person who loves dogs, and I hate to see dogs treated in this manner. If you're a dog lover too, then knowing what puppy mills are and how to recognize these signs of a puppy who comes from one of these mills will help prevent future puppy mill occurrences. These puppy mills are a source of easy money for breeders and a place where animals are not given much care or attention, and they produce dogs that have serious defects and problems. A Last for Chance Animal Special Investigations Unit began looking into these breeding practices to find exactly where these pet store dogs come from. The answer they received from most of these pet store owners was that they came from a family ranch where the dog had a lot of room to run and he had a healthy lifestyle. This investigations unit looked into this ideal ranch that they were told and found out exactly that it was a puppy factory. And the specific one that they found was housing over 400 dogs. That's a lot of dogs in one space. Unfortunately, this was only one of many that were found in that area. A person who runs a puppy mill will have anywhere from tens to hundreds of dogs used to mass breed. They then sell these dogs to consumers like us, which we don't know much about it, so we don't ask. So why do these people breed dogs this way? Pet breeders that have hundreds of dogs can have multiplied puppies, right? So if you have 2 dogs, they're going to have like 10 puppies. So think of 100 dogs having, there's like 1,000 puppies. So they go and they sell these puppies to pet stores and through newspapers and the internet and stuff, and they can make a lot of easy money. And they can do it multiple times throughout the year. So where are these puppies sold? Like I said before, the majority are sold to pet stores, just in the local areas, or there's a place called a pet boutique, which I think is like a smaller pet store. The pet stores then clean up the dog and make it look like there was nothing wrong and they come from a really nice place. And so how do these people get away with this? The many breeders that sell directly to the public aren't regulated by federal laws. So that means that a large portion of the dogs that are sold aren't inspected, and nobody goes to check up on how much care and attention they're given and if there's food and water or anything like that. The pet stores also continue to buy their dogs from the same puppy mill, so they have a continual source. And these puppy mills nobody goes to check them or to inspect it or anything. Or if they have been inspected, then it's not a very good one. They just quick look at it and then they go on. Every puppy mill usually contains a large amount of dogs, and that's a lot of dogs in one confined space. So what the puppy breeders do is they put them in a lot of cages, and the cages are really, really small, and they're usually stacked one on top of another or really close side by side. So in most situations, this allows the urine and feces from the higher up dogs to fall down onto the lower dogs, and it gets really unsanitary. And a lot of the little dogs or small puppies can get their legs caught in the wire cages and break their leg or cause other serious problems. There are also people that put larger dogs in there, like think of it like a Labrador in one of these small cages, and these larger dogs aren't able to stand up or even turn around. The female breeding dogs are kept in the cage their entire life. They never leave. They're in there the whole time. And dogs that that share cages will often become hostile towards each other, and they'll fight and they'll bite each other and they'll cause all sorts of those kinds of infections and that kind of stuff. These kind of dogs are not given hardly anything to eat or to drink, and if they do, it's very minimal to cut costs for the animal breeders. The dogs are usually mostly always malnourished and are not healthy at all. They are not given any people interaction. So when you get the dog, they're not used to humans and they will bite you, and it makes for a very untrainable dog. The animal breeders do not give any medical attention to the puppies. So if there's anything wrong with it, they let it continue to persist, and it gets worse and worse. And a lot of times they can get diseases that pass on down. And it gets worse and worse, and it can kill the dog. Dogs that are found in puppy mills are often found to have epilepsy, cataracts, personality disorders, mammary tumors, periodontal disease, and ear and eye infections. And a lot of these diseases are genetic and can be passed down to their litters. So it becomes even harder to treat later on. Inbreeding and overbreeding causes a lot of these genetic diseases and can cause a lot more. These are just a few that I mentioned, and will be passed on for who knows how many generations. These horrific puppy mills are a very malicious and inhumane way for people to make easy money and to not get punished for it. The dog factories are a sad place for a dog to spend his life without any attention and living in unsanitary conditions without getting any food or water. The mistreated dogs are also at an unbelievably high risk for illnesses and injuries. The only way to stop people from abusing these innocent animals is to check into where your potential pet is coming from. So ask the pet store owner where they got their dog from. And if they're really hesitant or they don't exactly know, then that's a good sign that it came from one of these puppy mills. So the only way to stop this is if you and I are informed about this and that we make the necessary steps to not buy a dog from one of these. So you could be the next person to make a difference for these helpless animals.